Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. So our problem of the day is to check if a string is a repetition of its substring of length k. So let's see our problem statement. The task is to determine whether it's possible to convert the given string in a particular way. So we are given with n, we are also given with a integer k. N is the length of the string and we are given with a string also. So our goal is to check if it is possible to convert the string by selecting two substring of length k, and we will check if we replace a substring with the other, can we get the repetition of the substring. So let's take an example for the better understanding. So let's take an example AB. In this case, n means size is of the string is 4, and let's say k is equals to 2. In this particular case, the entire string is a repetition of its substring. At first, let's see in how many parts our string will be divided into substrings. So for that, we will divide our n by k, which gives us 4 by 2 is 2. So we will divide the entire string in two parts, and we can see these two are repetition of itself. So in this case we will return 1, because this is what we have to find. If a string is a repetition of its substring of length k, here k is equals to 2 and the length of the substrings, that is AB, is also equals to 2, so it is satisfying all the conditions. Let's take more examples like AB, BA, CC. In this case, we have n is equals to 6, and let's say our k is equals to 2. So we will divide the entire string into 3 substrings of length 2. So if it is the case, then we have to check if by replacing any one of the substring, like if we replace BA with AB, what we will get? We will get BA, AB and CC. We can see there is no repetition of substring. These three substrings are unique. So in this case we will return 0. So let's take another example to clarify this. AA, BC and AA. And let's take n is equals to 6, and let's say k is also equals to 2. So in this case also, our whole string will be divided into 3 smaller substrings of length 2, AA, BC and AA. Now let's check if we replace any of the substring, can we get a repetition of strings. So in this example, if we replace AA with BC, we can get BC, AA and AA. Now we can see that we got a repetition of substrings in a string of length 2. The substrings lengths are 2. So we will return 1 in this case. So we have seen lots of example, but how to achieve this? So let's see what is our approach to solve this problem. We can take a hash map. This hash map will store a substring along with its frequency, and we will store every substring in the given string in our hash map along with its frequency. So if we take this example only, AA, BC and AA. So at first our hash map will store AA, and its frequency will be updated by 1. Then in the second iteration, we got BA as our substring, VC as our substring. So VC will be entered in the hash map and its frequency will be updated by 1 again, because there is no such substring previously stored in the hash map. In the third iteration, we will get again AA. So AA is already stored in our hash map. So the frequency will be updated by 1 plus 1. So we will get a hash map like this. Now we will check all the conditions which we have discussed before. So at first we will check if the size of our map is 1. If the size is 1, that means only one substring is stored in our map. And as we know, a unique substring is a repetition of itself. Means if we get only BC, so it is a repetition of itself only. So that's why we will return 1 in this case. In our second case, we will check whether our map contains exactly two unique substrings or not. In this case, BC is unique and AA is also unique. So we got exactly two unique substrings. So by far we can see that our map contains exactly two unique substrings. So at last we have to check another condition, that the values, that means the frequency of this substring, is exactly 1. So let's check that. In our first index of our map, we will be storing our AA because it is the first substring, right? We have updated it, but it was the first index, and this was the second. It was the first index and it was the second index in our map. Hash map never stores duplicate values, so this value is updated. It is not added. So that's why it is the first index only. Here only it will be updated in the first case here, and it is our second index in our hash map. So let's back to the point that the frequency of AA must be equals to 1, or it should be equals to NYK minus 1. The reason behind it is, if the frequency is 1, we have only two unique substrings in our map, so it will be replaced by each other. So for an example, if the string is AABC, so AA can be replaced by BC. So these are repetitive. In this case, we will return 1. And also, if the frequency is equals to NYK minus 1, here NYK will give the number of total substrings. That is, in our this example, we have n is equals to 6 and k equals to 2. So we got three substrings. Let's see, that is AA and BC. So we got three substrings, right? So one of the substring is already present at the first index, which we will replace. Then only we will get a repetitive substring. Now we are saying that we will replace this set of substring with the other substring. So without including it, we will calculate the frequency value, which is 2. So we have subtracted that index from here. So 3 minus 1 is equals to 2. If this condition satisfies, that is, if a frequency of a key is equals to 1, or it is equals to NYK minus 1, this satisfies our condition and hence we will return 1. So as per the example, we have AA in our first index. We will store the value of AA and check whether the value, which is 2 in our case, 2 is equals to n by k minus 1 or not. So the value of this, we have calculated it already, that is 2. So we can see the frequency of AA and the value is equal. Thus, it is possible to convert this given string into the repetition of its substring of length k. After checking all the conditions which we have seen over here, we have to check some base cases also. That is, n is equals to k. This means the length of our string is equals to our length of the substring. So we have discussed it already, right? That a substring can be a repetition of itself. So we will return 1 in this case. And another base case we have to consider is if the length of the given string is odd, then we can't break it into k number of substrings. That is obvious. So we have to check whether n mod k is equals to 0 or not. If it is 0, then we can continue, and if it is not 0, we will return 0. So these are all the conditions we have to consider. Now let's dive into the code. So at first, let's write our base conditions which we have seen just now. If the length of the string is equals to the length of the given substring. If this happens, we will return 1 because you know the reason. A substring is a repetition of itself. And the second base case was if n mod k is not equals to 0. That means it is not divided. The length of the string is not divided by the length of the substring. In that case, we will simply return 0. It is not possible to divide them. Now, as we have discussed, we will take a hash map which will store a string and its frequency, basically a substring and its frequency. So string and integer type teacher. Let's name it m equals to new hash map. Now let's run a loop to add the elements in our hash map. Int I equals 0, I less than n. I will be increased by, guess what? I will be increased by k number of times. Means if the value of k is 2, that means our substring length will be 2. So in the second iteration, we will start from the first index of our second substring. So we will add I by k, and we will add elements in our hash map. So we will take s.substring from ith position to k plus 1 position. So it will basically store from I to kth position values. I hope you know the use of substrings. And then we have to update its frequency. If it is a unique substring, by default we will add 1 to 0. And if there is a frequency which is already existed in a hash map value, we will add 1 to that value. So for that we will use m.get or default. So what will this function do is, if the key has any value in it, it will get the value, or else it will return 0 of the substring, the same substring which we are adding, that is from I to k plus 1, 0, and we will add 1 to the value. So this will create our hash map which will store our substring, unique substring with their frequencies. And now all the conditions which we have discussed, we will implement them. At first we have discussed if the size of the map is equals to 1. If this happens, we will simply return 1. The second condition was if the size is not exactly equals to 2, then we have to return, that means we have more than 2 unique values. In that case, we will return 0. And our last case was we have to check the frequency. For that, we will take a variable fric equals 0 and we will iterate in our map and we will store the first value of the first key in our frequency variable. So for that, we will iterate through the values of map m dot values and we will store the first value that is present in I and then we will break our loop. So this will do nothing but the first value of the first key. In our example that was A. So the frequency of A was 2. So 2 will be stored in this variable and then we have to check what we have discussed, that is if fric is equals to 1 or the fric is equals to n by k minus 1 or not. So if we see these two are satisfied, we will simply return 1, and if it is not, if all the cases are not satisfied, we will simply return 0. That is, we can't change our string in our desired way. So this is all about the program. Let's see if there is any issues. M dot values. So the code looks fine. This will be I because the value of k will be increased by I. If you want the explanation of this part, I can show that. So for the first time, the substring will be from the 0th index of the string to the k. So the value of k is 2. We will add it with the value of I, which is 0. So we will get 2. So from 0th index till the second index, we will get a substring, and according to the substring, it will always return value from 0 to length minus 1, which is 2 minus 1. So till this index. So this is our first substring. Accordingly, we will update our I with k plus I. So 0 plus I is 2. So next time our I will be here and our k will be here. So the second substring created will be this. This is how we will iterate. Now let's get back to the code. By now the code is looking fine. Let's compile. So it's compiling. Let us submit. So we have successfully completed our solution. If you found this video helpful in any way, make sure you like and subscribe, share to your friends, and if you have any questions, please reach me out through the comment section. Let's meet in the next video and happy coding.